Let me hit record. Here we go. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for your time today. Whether it's good evening, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, we appreciate your participations. So I think this is again once a week our community MA. So today we will cover first, of course, the HAG introduction, and then we will share some community progress, especially on the secondary uh, or OG. Then later on, I will cover some education nonsense that is about hash rate, and also we appreciate that our members who raise your questions in our AMA channels to let us know that you guys really have some interest in knowing more about the hash rate. I think this is good. I think this kind of insightful interaction between the management teams and you guys, the investors, I think is good. So I think we would like to share more and be helpful to know more about Bitcoin mining industry because you buy the HAG, you are just like participating in the Bitcoin mining industry. So that's why you need to know about like minings. And think this is also a good chances for you to share what you learn from in our MA to people or friends around you to let them know about Bitcoin mining is and then to know more about HAG. So at the very beginning, MH. So hello, MH. Nice to meet you here. So at the very beginning, I would like to Sam again to introduce a brief introduce about HAG. So HAG is the world very first security token that focus on Bitcoin mining and plan to give out the monthly distribution in WBTC. And HAG had three prominent highlights. First is about 100% compliance. Secondly, it's about transparent and timely revenue distribution. That's one list. It's about interest-bearing asset that is highly correlated to Bitcoin price. So yeah, so first, we're 100% compliance. HEG, we are SEC filing companies, and our HEG offering is in Regulation D and Regulation S. So everything is like 100% compliance. And secondly, the timely and transparent revenue distributions. We are talking about every month, 70% of net yield from the Bitcoin mining will distribute it into HAG's holders' wallet in WBTC via the smart contract. So everything will be transparent, automatic. And as for this, we got 30% of net yield to become the reserve pool to maintain our hash power. So you don't need to worry about there's a depreciation or what. Last but not least, HAG, we got two layers of value. The fundamental value is highly correlated to Bitcoin price because HAG is packed to 1 terahash per second. And based on historical data, the historical price is highly correlated to Bitcoin price. So overall, we got a fundamental value that is highly correlated to Bitcoin price. The second layer of value is the dividends, the 70% of net yield distribution to you guys in a wallet address. So overall, I think HAG, we got three prominent highlights. First, compliance. Secondly, the timely and transparent revenue distribution. Last but not least is about interest-bearing asset. Okay, so first, let me jump into our first segment. So yeah, I think the first part is about OG. So management team, we work really hard and have some collaboration with different like event holders. So for the first batch of our OG, we already introduced them our first utilities. We carry out the first utilities that they got a chance to win a free ticket to the two events. One will be the Token 2049 side event in Singapore, and this event will be held in September in Singapore. And the second tickets, the free tickets we could provide to our first batch of OG is the Bitcoin Amsterdam. So Bitcoin Amsterdam will be held in October in Amsterdam. I think this is also the big event in Europe because especially focused on the Bitcoin. I think during these two events there will be lots of like VCs and institution and different kind of like industry professionals, they will gather together to talk about what they think about Web3, what they think about Bitcoin, what they think about Bitcoin minings. And I think this is also a good way for us to know more about OGs and to let the OGs know more about HAG, us, the management team. So I think, yeah, I think we are excited to share this good news, and we prove ourselves that HAG we got a capability to carry out our promise to our OG. So yeah, their first utility is realized. They got a chance to win for like free tickets to the two events. So yeah, things we talk about the first utilities that we bring to first batch of OG. We would like to announce that there will be the second batch of OG. So I think this is a good chance for everyone who do not seize opportunity in the first batch to get your OG title, the HAG OG title in the second batch. So for the second batch of OG, the amount will be limited. So there will only be 30 seats for the second batch of OG. And the duration is also limited. You will start it from now to uh, to to the time we close our first tranche of fundraisings. So that means that if we close our first tranche of fundraising in like September or October this year, the second batch of OG will be closed, no matter if we meet the 30% threshold or not. So I think if you know that if you do have some like extra passions and really believe in HAG, I think this is your first. I think it's your good chances for you to get on board again, to seize your opportunity in the second batch of OG, because we do got a capability to provide the utilities that we committed to you guys. I mean, the community you guys will focus on like NFT and also the annual meeting and also some like reserve slots for to the crypto events, just like what announced before, like several seconds ago. And for a WPTC, there will be no commitments. So this is for a compliance issue. So basically, the utilities between the first batch and the second batch of OG will be similar, but the investment threshold for the second batch of OG will be higher. The first batch, the investment threshold is 10K, but in the second batch, it will be 30K. And maybe we might have the third batch of OG, and I think the investment threshold will get even higher. So I think if you know HAG earlier and you think you don't want to miss a chance, I think definitely you should seize this like opportunity in the second batch. We do not have any guarantee that we will not announce the third batch of OG. So if you believe in us and think that we do have a capability to bring you some additional utilities as an OG, please seize your opportunity. Okay. Also, I know there might be some questions that have been raised about second batch of OG, so we would like to first answer you guys. So the first FAQ would be, what is the logic of rule? I think a logic of rule is we want to strike a good balance between the first batch of OG and the second batch of OG. We appreciate that the first batch of OG they are willing to provide some additional support to HAG even in the early stage. But we don't want to that like people who getting later miss any chance to become OG. We want to grant that opportunity to them as well. So that's why we think we increase the investment threshold, but we do not, stop announcing our second batch of OG. I think so. This is uh, the logic behind the second batch of OG. So the second question you may raise is that what will be the closing time for a second batch of OG? Again, the closing time will be the time we close the first tranche of fundraising. So that is the second batch of OG will close at the same time as the first tranche of offering. No matter, like let's say that because second batch of OG there is two limitation, whether it is 30 OGs available or there's a time durations limitations. So either of them is reached, the OG, the second batch of OG will be closed, even though the time is not there yet. So at the end, I think from the first batch of OG, I think we do listen to your opinion, your suggestions about the design, the durations, and some pre-announcement before the closure. So I think, as promised to the community, we will announce the closure of offering or 1 week beforehand. So means that before there might be the chance that the OG the program could be closed, and if there's a chance, we will announce. And I think what we could do better is that we will have some weekly like updates about the second batch of OG. So that means you could keep track of what the progress of the second batch of OG is like. For the first week from now, like 1 week later, maybe there's only 28 OGs left. 2 weeks later, there's 25 OGs left. I think we could provide this kind of update to you guys. So I think this could give you a more clear picture about the OGs. So I think this might be helpful and to make it more transparent as possible. But again, if you have any suggestions, so feel free to raise in a live chat, or you could raise in the Telegram group. We will listen to you guys. Okay, the third question you might have is that if you did not acquire an OG in the first batch, could your investment amount be counted in the second batch of OG when considering the investment threshold? I think the clear answer is yes. It's like if you invest like 8K, I mean like $8,000 in the first batch during the first batch, that means that you could not reach the investment threshold in the first batch of OG. That doesn't matter. In the second batch of OG, we will count your investment still be 8K. That means that you only have to make additional 22K to acquire OG in the second batch. So I think this is fair enough. And I think the best FAQ would be that if I acquired OG in the first batch, could I invest more to get another OG? We highly, in fact, this is good. We highly appreciate your OG, your extra support as an OG. But in fact, OG is more like an honor. So I think the amount of OG doesn't mean a lot, but your support to the HAG is means much more. Okay, so I think one individual could only attend one OG. It means that if like Joe, myself, I become the first OG, the first batch of OG, I think I'm good. I cannot get another OG in the second batch because this is more about honor and it's all about the participations, and I think we do appreciate if you want to invest more in the future. I think this totally worth it. But as an OG, it's more like an honor. It doesn't about quantity. Quantity doesn't mean anything. I mean, one OG or two OG doesn't mean anything, but your support means a lot more. So yeah, I think this is basically about the OG. Is that the second batch of OG is now announced. So we will open this program now till the closure of the second batch of OG, and we will provide some weekly progress about OG. Yeah, so this is about the first part. It's about the OG utilities. Sorry, it's about the OG utility we could bring to the first batch of OG and the announcement to the second batch of OG. The second batch of OG is now started. So if you are interested in, doesn't never hesitate to seize your opportunity in the second batch. So yeah, I think the second part will be more like the educational contents. I think we appreciate our one of our like community members. He or she raised a good suggestions that you want to know more about the hash rate. And I think this is a good point to let everyone get more familiar with the Bitcoin mining. And hash rate is a fundamental like knowledge you should know about. when we talk about the Bitcoin mining. So I think for this part, I would like to talk more about Bitcoin mining itself and also the hash rate itself. So first, let's talk about what is Bitcoin mining. So Bitcoin mining is the process to use the specified devices to tackle the difficult, like mathematical questions. That means that you need to like use some like specialized like calculator to answer to the questions, the mathematical questions, and you get the correct answer, you will get rewarded. So basically, the Bitcoin mining itself is the process of this. Answer the questions with some good tools, and those tool is the Bitcoin mining equipment, or we could say the miner. Okay, and there are two kinds of rewards that the miner will get. First, if we if the miner correctly answer the questions and add in the block within the network, you will get first reward is the reward to add the block, and currently the reward will be 6.25 BTC per new block. Like at the very beginning, this reward is 50 BTC per new block, and having the effect keep going on. So 50 down to 25, down to 12.5, and then 6.25 BTC. And in the next year, this halving effect will become the next halving effect will make this 6.25 BTC down to 3.125 BTC per new block. But this is about the first source of reward to become a miner. The second source of reward will be the the verification reward to verify the transactions within a block. So it's more like commission fee. So I think even though the halving effect made the reward per new block getting lower, but the whole Bitcoin network is dynamically changing. So that means that the verification reward may go higher and higher in the future, because in this way you could make sure that miner do the work, because miner is profitable. They will do the work and make the whole Bitcoin network safe with security. So I think even though there's a halving effect, there is additional source to make miners still be profitable. And I think in an early May this year, things some like heavy usage of Bitcoin network because due to the ordinal or BRC20 applications, there are ones that verification reward is higher than the new block adding reward. That means that Bitcoin network is dynamically enough to make sure that miner is profitable, to make sure the whole Bitcoin network is safe and securitized. So yeah, this is about what is the Bitcoin mining is, and two sources of reward as a Bitcoin miner. And I think the next topic will be what is hash rate. I think this is a good question. So literally speaking, hash rate is the combination of two words. First is hash, and the second word is rate. So when we talk about hash means it is the fixed length of alphanumerical code that is used to represent words, messages, or data of any length. So for example, like the word hello, you could see there is a series of number and alphabets to represent the hello. So this is the alphanumerical code and the hash to represent the word hello. So this is about hash, what the hash means. And what is about rate? According to the Oxford Dictionary, the rate means a measure, the quantity, or the frequency. Sorry, my series, my series saying thing. Sorry to interrupt. So again, so hash rate, the combination of two words means um, a quantity of the alphanumerical code within the Bitcoin network. Okay, this is about hash rate, and this also means that because we are using, the machine to try to calculate or solve different and verify different words, different data within the network. So this also means that this is a computational power that is being used to mine the process the transactions on the proof of work blockchains, because we use the like devices to prove that such data is like decentralizedly distributed within the network. So this is about what is hash rate. And I think as a Bitcoin miner, there are like some keywords you should know about this and some fundamental knowledge you should know about when we talk about the Bitcoin mining. I think the big part will be you should know the situation within the markets. And I think first I would like to talk about is about the miner, or AKA the mining equipment. Okay, there are two factors that you should take note of when we are considering what is a miner good or not. The first factor is the hash rate, or you could say the hash power, and the second is efficiency. So I provide you some example about the miners we are going to use in the future. It'll be the N miner S19XP. So in this miner, the total hash rate is 140T, right? The 140T is the hash rate, the hash power, how many power of computations we have per mining equipment. And the second is efficiency. So efficiency and consumption is kind of like, is basically the same thing. They are interchangeable. So those means that how many power we used when we carry out those hash power. So I think even though a mining equipment, they might have a great hash power. They say they have like 240T or what. But the important thing is that how many power this machine will consume. Um, because electricity cost will be the major cost when we are doing the Bitcoin minings. So I think efficiency and hash rate is like like comparatively important, but efficiency is kind of things that you should not get rid of. So let's take some like daily life example. Let's say if you want to, from A point, you want to get A point from A point to the B point, driving the car, and you got two kind of sources, two kind of cars to get from A to the B. First choice is the pure gasoline car, right? When you are getting A to the B, you might consume more gasoline, and I think the gasoline price is higher than the electricity price, so you might spend, let's say, $500 to drive the gasoline car from A to B. And the more efficient car may be the hybrid car, right? Both with engine and the electrical motor. So that said, because electrical is much cheaper than gasoline fee right now. So from A to B, if you drive the hybrid car, you might cost nearly like $400 only. So I think in this way, even though you got the same horsepower, right? You got the same horsepower and the price of gasoline is the same, but you consume less gasoline and more electricity with lower price tag for the electricity. You will spend less to get from A to B, and this is just like mining, right? If you want to, uh, finish answering a correct answer to add a new block, how efficiency you use electricity is important. So I think one additional information I could provide is that the Nmire S19XP, they use the TSMC N5 chips. So I think the efficiency is the highest currently in the market. So we got some advantages to tackle this kind of like hashing power with great efficiency. So I think this is thing that I would like to point out when we are talking about mining. So two factors you should consider. One is about total hash rate, and the second is efficiency. Okay, so every week mm, we will provide you about every Wednesday we'll provide you about the weekly recap about the market conditions, the mining market conditions. So it will be the chart that we will post it on both Twitter and in the Telegrams. So I think some people might ask, so how do we read this chart? So today I would like to debrief the information on this chart so that you have more information when we posted this kind of recap in the group. So first, so what is the weekly average hash rate? So this average hash rate is the hash power within the network. That means the whole hash power within the network. You could become, you will be the miner in the U.S., miner in in different countries and regions. All the miners, all the hash power they acquire, the aggregate amount will be the first column you see, the weekly average hash rate. So you could consider about they are the competitors. When this figure become higher, that means the competitor is there are more competitors within the network. That means the competition level will be much intense. So when there are more people in this area, you got the last chance to win the competition to tackle the next questions. So that means that you got the higher chance that you will not win. You will not get the reward for adding a new block. So that is the bad thing. So I think this is about the market condition. Maybe the higher the figure, I think the condition is bad for us. So and also things the whole Bitcoin network adjusts itself dynamically every week. That means that if the total hash rate become higher and higher, they will have some adjusting mechanisms every about 2 weeks. So actually speaking, it's about the mining difficulty will adjust a little bit every 2016 blocks that is created, and usually it's around 2 weeks. And so the higher the total hash rate, the higher the chance that the mining difficulty will get higher, like in the next cycles. So yeah, since we talk about mining difficulty, so we could first talk about the third column in the chart, that is our mining difficulty. So mining difficulty means how difficult it is to solve the complex cryptographic puzzle. And like I said, this will adjust a little bit every 2016 blocks. So uh, the mining difficulty, the unit is in T. That means that about how much hash power needed to tackle a questions. The higher the mining difficulty, the more hash power they need to tackle the questions. So the competitor when the total competitors is getting more, that means that the mining difficulty will get higher. So that balance itself. So that in the previous cycle, maybe only like an example we listed to you, the weekly mining rewards is giving out is about 928, but in the next cycle, since the mining difficulty and adjust a little bit and total hash power adjust a little bit, so the mining reward will become like higher or lesser given these two factors. Yeah, so I think the higher the mining difficulty, the higher the difficulty. So this is the bad things. And like I say, when it's the second columns in the chart, it will be the weekly average mining rewards. So I think this figure is from two factors. One is the total hash rate in the first column, and the mining difficulty in the third column. So given these two factors, we'll come up with the second column of figures. So and you will see for this week, the weekly average mining reward is 988.5 BTC, like within the whole network. So yeah, this is about the third thing, the average mining reward. And last thing I would like to point out is the fourth column, is the daily mined BTC. So given the difficulty in the third column, we could use a formula to come up with like how many BTC per terahash per second could mine. So this figure is more like a theoretical figure because you could use the mining difficulty to somehow come up with the daily mine BTC per T. So again, I think in brief, for the first column, it's about the competitor within the network, and the second column is about the reward that is available in uh, in the in the last week and the previous week. And this figures is given is come up with two factors, the first columns and the third columns given yeah, and the third column is on mining difficulty. The higher the difficulty is the things that we don't like, because the higher difficulty means that we need to get more hash power to win the competitions to get the reward for adding the blocks. And the fourth column is about like like how many BTC you will get per T, and never for HAG, one HAG is packed to 1 terahash per second. That means that the fourth column may give you some sense about what BTC amount, what BTC per day one HAG might get. But you should also consider that HAG will distribute 70% of net yields. So only 70% is counted, and there might be more like costs included, like electricity costs or operational costs or several costs related. So this false column gives you some sense, but it will not be the accurate figure that like to your hand eventually. So yeah, this is about some like knowledge about what is mining and what is the rewards to the miner, what is hash rate, and also how to read the chart that we provide to you like every week. So yeah, I think someone is asking about questions. So let me answer the question first. First questions, you mentioned that half of your target investment has been raised. So what is the progress? Do you have a target for closing the trenches? I think we are under internal discussions whether how transparent it should be when we are talking with you guys about progress. So in I think 2 weeks ago, we announced like we already passed the 50% of our progress in for the first tranche. So I think for their week, we will announce some milestone in the first tranche of like fundraising progress. So I think this is some like internal like brief decisions that we will not disclose like very detailed, but we would like to share some milestones we have in the fundraising. So yeah, answer to your questions. I think we try to strike a good balance between transparency and also the compliance. And in this way, we try our best to disclose to let you guys stay in the same page with us. But never forget that we are on the same boat with you guys. We want to close our first tranche as much as possible. So I think if you guys also wish to close, I think this is we are on the same boat, and maybe you could introduce like HAG to more people around you to ask them to join our community MA, or to join the community to ask a question, raise a question to learn about HAG, or they could join as OG in the second batch. I think this is a good way and to close our first trend faster. But the OG is not only for the fundraising. We are increasing our PR exposure internationally and also collaborate with community to let more people in different countries know about HAG. So yeah, to answer your questions, I think transparency is important, but we also care about compliance, and we management team work hard to strike a good balance of it. Thank you. Okay, the next question is, I believe there is only a small amount of BTC mined left. How long can I expect my investment to pay dividends? Will it be over in a few years? So yeah, I think based on our PPN, the mining operation will start it 65 days after the first change is closed. This is on the PPN. So after we start our operations, we will start accumulate the BTC, and every month we will distribute it those net yields from the mining directly to you guys. So in brief, is that the operation you'll start 65 days after the first change is closed, and I think we we are on the same page with you guys. We are in the same boat with you guys. We want to that the first change to be closed ASAP as soon as possible. So I think we are so you could have less concern on this part because we really wish the first tranche will be good. I think the progress is good, it's positive. I think 2 weeks ago the 50% is achieved. I think maybe soon in the future we will have sure more milestone we have in the fundraising progress. So I think stay tuned. Join our community MA. We will share this kind of informations within our community MA. So yeah, but also if you become an OG, you might learn more, like to learn this kind of news or information much faster within the OG exclusive meetings. So yeah, I think answer to both your questions, we are on a simple strike a good balance between transparent and compliance, and also we want to the first tranche to be closed ASAP. Thank you. But thank you again for your questions. I think appreciate that. And everyone, if you have any question, please just type whatever language you are comfortable in a live chat or in the Telegram group. For your questions. Okay. So yeah, I think this is all for today's AMA. First, we talk about the first batch of OG utility has been carried out. We got a free ticket to the two events. First is the Token 2049 side event, and the second event will be the Bitcoin Amsterdam. And both events are international events in Asia and in Europe to let our OG has some international exposure and has some exclusive exposure. And if you really want to be part of OG, don't hesitate to seize the seats in the second batch. We announced our second batch of OG, and there will be only 30 OGs available in the second batch. That's my list. We talk about what is mining, what is hash rate, and how to read the chart that we provide weekly to let you know about some like market conditions in terms of minings. So yeah, I think this kind of educational content is fun, is interesting. I think if you have any topics you would like to understand, just type your suggestions in the MA channels, in the Telegram or in the Discord. Sorry, we would like to pick it up and share the insights we have within the industry. So yeah, I think thank you so much for your time today, and it's a good night, good evening, or good morning from everyone. I think stay tuned to our community. MA, we might have some announcement about the OG progress or some fundraising milestone in the future. So yeah, appreciate your join. I think we'll see you soon in the next week. Thank you so much. Bye.